Hello everybody. Can you just give me a quick heads up if everybody can hear me and if I'm audible and all that? Please? Just give me a heads up, like a thumbs up, or maybe a short message saying yes, we hear you. I'm gonna turn myself louder. Yes, thank you, Priyanka. Thank you, Mojo, of course. I'm assuming it's Mojo himself. Thank you, guys. I don't know, I've never done this. I've never done a live by myself. Thank you for the yeses and hello. So I will just, talk a little bit about what I wrote down and what I think that you would want to hear about from the questions in the post and then from my conversations with you. So feel free to interrupt me anytime with questions or with maybe telling me that I'm going off track and you don't want to hear it. That's also fine. I'm German, give it to me straight and we can change direction. I don't know, I guess we can just start, or do people wait a little bit? I'm not sure. My dogs are all here. I hope they don't start barking because it's raining and thundering and stuff over here. But anyway, I think I'm just gonna start because thank you for being on time and being here. And I think we only have 1 hour because what I hear from the young people is that you have to be able to save it and keep it short, whatever. Let's just get started. Hi Mandana, hi everybody. Hi, okay, Priyanka says start. Sorry, that's Teddy. Okay, let's start. I'm going to, I'm going to start by just kind of telling you what I'm going to talk about. So in case you're not interested in some of it, you can switch back on later. I'm going to talk about firstly, the indicators that let you know whether your dog or your cat is healthy or not, because all this talk about nutrition and food and what's best, does your dog even need it? Does your cat even need it? Who knows? So let's talk about that. And then sourcing meat and doing that for the right diet is also a topic I think that many people struggle with. That leads us to the cost of the perfect diet or of a really good diet. And then finally, when all that is figured out, we'll talk a little bit about transitioning, which I think is super important because many people get thrown off in that last little, couple of meters before the goal, because I guess nowhere else it's as true as in pet nutrition that it's darkest before dawn. So it's very important to me and very essential, I think, for your pets that you understand what's going on inside of them. What does the food, whatever you're giving them that they consume, what does it do to them? What does it do to their body? And when you understand that, then it'll be easier for you to feed better because you won't be scared of certain reactions. You will know what's happening inside the body and all that. So anyway, let's start with the benchmarks for is my pet healthy or not? Sorry if I'm lurking down here, I got my notes. Anyway, benchmarks that I would think of first and that I think are the best ones are just simply, is your pet happy or not? Is the behavior changing? Are the energy levels up? Are they, active as they usually are? That's, I think, a definite sign. An animal or, any living being in pain is not active and happy and maybe doesn't have a big appetite and all that. So trust your gut with that and keep logical, Don't freak out just because it's your baby. Think about is this dog wagging its tail and asking for you to throw a ball? Then they're probably not in great pain. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't monitor whatever issue you see, but I'm just saying a happy pet is not a pet that you have to worry about urgently. For other issues, like, maybe things that are slowly growing, you can check, does your pet have fresh breath, whether it's a dog or a cat. Teeth problems as well as problems in the stomach often show in smelly breath because something's not right inside. So, there's burps and there might be, some sort of growth or bacteria in the teeth. So, smelly breath should be something that, you look at or keep an eye on and take some measures against. Another thing is the coat and skin, of course. A healthy dog and a healthy cat will not leave this kind of waxy coating on your hand. If you should, pet them or give them a good little scrub, it won't leave a weird feeling on your hand. It'll just be like nice. The coat and skin, they shouldn't smell. If they do, then probably there's something that's getting out of the pores in the skin that's not supposed to be there. And that is something that you're putting inside by feeding your pet. So what else? Yeah, weight and digestion, of course. If your dog has extremely funny looking poop, then there's probably something wrong. It's not a big deal. If a dog throws up or eats a lot of grass or something, that's fine. Like, let them eat their grass, let them throw up. It's a little salad buffet and they know what to do and what to eat. And if their stomachs are upset, it's different for dogs than for us. They're not like we are, like in pain and suffering and like feeling bad. They are just, a little bit more pragmatic about it, I would say. They're like, okay, there's something wrong in my stomach, like something doesn't sit right. I know what to do. I'll eat some grass, I'll throw up, I'll be fine. That's more of a function in a dog, the throwing up, than it is in a human. My husband and I keep saying, like, we're so whiny, like humans are so incapable of stuff. Because you must have realized that with your own pets, when they, bump into a wall or do something doofy and you think, oh my God, that must have hurt. They're not hurt. Or when dogs fight with each other, those bites and pawings, like that hurts. Like if they do that to me, I'm like crying. So pets, they don't experience pain the way we do, which doesn't mean they should ever experience any pain, but just be aware that there's physical functions that are different in animals than in humans. So do not see throwing up as an indicator for your pet being sick. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. So that's that. And then eyes. If your pet has, healthy, active eyes that follow you around, then that's also a pretty good sign. So, I think, or weight, sorry about that weight. Many people are kind of worried about the dogs not being, buff enough. But a dog can only be buff if it's fed right, if it has the nutrients to build into muscles, and then also if it has the workout. You can't feed a muscle powder, or you can, but I don't think it's gonna buff your dog up. Like what you have to do is make them run, feed them real food, and then they'll buff up. But I think that most dogs are pretty much fine. Like they don't need to fatten up. They'd rather need to lose some weight. You can easily tell if your dog is at a good weight range by the rule that the ribs should not be showing, but they should be, feelable if you touch the sides. So if you can't feel the ribs, then they're probably a little bit, on the heavier side. And if the ribs are poking out, that's also not a good sign. Then they should probably gain a little bit of weight. Anyway, that's how you know, I hope, whether your pet is in a good shape or not. And sorry if I sometimes skip on cats, but most of these things are the same for cats. Otherwise, I will specify. Dog that eats poop. There can be many reasons, but again, I would refer to the benchmarks. If the dog is happy and all, then just, try to distract them and not have them do that because it's gross, but it's not like, oh my God, so horrible or something. It's pretty common, to be honest. Anyway, let us talk about the diet in, I'll reply to that. Well, for spayed female, no, it's not normal to be overweight. No dog should be overweight. It's not good for the joints. It shows that there's something slightly off in the diet. I'm sorry if I sound blunt. I don't mean to attack or anything. I'm just very harsh, as my husband says. But like, no, it's not true that dogs will be overweight when they're spayed or when they're neutered. Like, all my dogs are spayed and neutered, and everybody's pretty in better shape than I am. So anyway, let's talk about like the actual diet. Like, I'm not going to talk about the basics because we wrote all those emails, and also I think we're kind of at an expert level here already. So yes, sticking to one meat is always bad. So let me get into this. Your dog, your cat, they need variety. That's clear. Like, it's just like, would you want to eat cereal like dried from a pouch without anything like 3 times a day for your entire life? No. So like, why would you do that to your pet? I know that there's a lot of promises and brainwashing and whatnot by the pet food industry, but like, again, I'm saying, like, just think logical and think with your gut. Like, does it feel right that there's certain like 20 kg bags of food that never goes bad, but is supposed to be like complete nutrition and wonderful, but like then only because of these foods is why certain diseases started coming, like 100 years ago after the Second World War, when pet food was basically invented, because people didn't have meat, didn't have money, it was just famine and stuff. So that's when pet food came in the game, and since then it's when, diabetes, cancer, all these diseases started in dogs and cats. So that's, there's a reason. So it's important to offer your dog and your cat fresh food, just like for yourself. Your dogs and cats do not need any grains. They don't need starches. They cannot digest them. All that happens is that it's turned to sugar in the body that feeds yeast. Yeast makes inflammation. That's when the stomach lining of a dog, which is intensely important, gets loopy because of the inflammation. The cell wall gets loopy, and the contents of the stomach can diffuse into the bloodstream out. That's what too much starch does to a dog or a cat. It just literally poisons them with time. Anyway, wait, let me switch right here. How often to alternate? Okay, you want like more actual info. Sorry, my boys and girls are going in and out. Anyway, you want more actual info, so I'm going to get into this. The questions that you mentioned were, like, do dogs need grains and stuff and veggies and everything? No, they don't. A dog can thrive on a 100% meat diet. My dogs do. It's okay, like, not one diet is perfect for all, and no diet has to be perfect, but with dogs, you just need meat, just like you do with cats. But for dogs, you can add a good amount of vegetables as well. Like, you just have to keep a balance and keep a check on your nutrients. For cats, they're very small organisms, and they do lack the capability to manufacture taurine, which is an essential mineral. So you need to keep an even closer eye on how to feed your cat, right? And certain things like garlic and stuff that are good for dogs have to be, given very expertly to cats. So either way, dogs and cats need meat. I'll get to those questions. The diet is not breed specific. It's like saying, like, just because dogs look different and cats look another bit different, it doesn't, like, the digestive system of a Yorkshire Terrier is the same as of a Tibetan Mastiff or a Great Dane. It's the exact same thing inside. So they look outside, they look very different. Inside, they are not. Cats are slightly different from dogs, as I mentioned before, but not going to get into detail. But they are carnivores, or mixed carnivores. The difference will be to our digestive systems, and then again to like a ruminant, like a cow or something. They have insanely complicated digestive system, because, you know, those cows like 650 kg have to thrive on only a couple of grams of grass a day, so they have a very different system from dogs and cats and from humans. So that's the more important thing than the breed. There's no real need to feed a breed-specific diet. I think it's just a marketing gag, just like grain-free is, you know, just an empty word shell. Homemade, like dog food should just always include a balance of proteins and a balance of cuts. Like you need muscle meat, you need organ, you need bone, you need, you know, vegetables if you want to. You just have to have variety, and you have to inform yourself. Like I think that like a diet plan in raw is not going to work, or a diet plan like that. I think that you have to understand exactly what's going on inside your dog or your cat, so that you can make judgment calls. Because if you get a diet plan and then you feed according to it and then it doesn't work, or there's some hustle or whatever, then you're gonna be like lost. You're gonna be like, what am I supposed to do? And then you can either call like your nutritionist or something and stick with them and on their hand like forever. But I feel like that's not the goal. Like the goal is that you confidently feed your dogs and your cats whatever you think is right, because you know them and you know how to feed them. Anyway, yeah, so you were asking about where to procure fresh meat. It's not easy at all, I understand that. You could try in the metros, places like Licious and Fresh to Home, which in my experience have been of good quality and fresh. They also have a good variety, I think. I mean, it's pricey, but it definitely pays off, I think. If you're in a more rural place, maybe you can just literally go to a farm and ask them if they have, you know, supply of those things. Yeah, then if you're in the city and you have to kind of, you know, go for the best of the worst, which would be the butchers in the cities, I think you could go in the early morning and, you know, try to go to one that doesn't have these little batteries with chickens, but try to find a place that, you know, is kind of ethical, and just go early in the morning to avoid any storage that might not be cold or something. And then I'd also always say get the meat chopped right in front of you, because that way you make sure it's cut from a whole piece, and not maybe the butcher knows it's for your dog and they give you like leftovers or something. So to avoid that, I would go early in the morning, have it cut straight from like a whole slab, get it over with. To judge the quality of meat, just know that fresh fish and meat, they do not smell, they don't have a slimy coating, they don't have any kind of coating. It will, when you push it, it will go in but pop back up the meat. So I know this might sound sensitive to some people, but it's just what it is. Touch the meat, push it slightly with your thumb, and if it, you know, comes right back up into its original shape, it's fresh meat or fresh fish. Yeah. Okay. For vegetarian households, from the questions, I would say try to do what you can. Add some, you know, eggs to the food, maybe some curd. You can do pumpkin or something. Like, just try to avoid kibble, because it has so little benefits and so many disadvantages. If you can, try to get some like boiled chicken breast or something that you can somehow incorporate into the food bowl. If you feel like it, you could, you know, supplement with the Canine India meals. It depends on the size of your dog or your cat. Obviously, a cat is easier to feed exclusively only with Canine India. That's completely possible. Whereas if you have a, you know, 40 kg German Shepherd, then it would be a little bit pricey to go strictly Canine India. So, you know, if you could provide like half the diet in kind of like vegetables and eggs and other supplements, and then add a little bit of like chicken breast, and then get stuff from Canine India as a, you know, topper, you could make it work in a vegetarian household. Like, it's, you know, it's always up to your situation to make the best out of it. Then, let me see. Sorry, I'm just trying to read this. Kibble, I would not recommend to feed any. The better ones, I think, are Origin and stuff, but still, like the ones that say grain-free and are more expensive, they still have starches, which is kind of the problem of grains. So I couldn't wholeheartedly say, like, feed this kibble or that kibble. I think there's some kind of freeze-dried stuff, but that's, like, you know, just crazy expensive, and it, again, has, like, preservatives and stuff like that. So then I would say go for, here, Canine India. But, again, fresh, raw meats that you home prep is always, you know, can always be a great base. And you can start fresh food from the moment, fresh food, the moment that your dog or cat is weaned off the mom. Like, it's never too early to start with the best. Organ meat cooking, it's quite easy because it's boneless, so you can boil it. You can even, to make it like extra delicious, fry it in some ghee or coconut oil. Like you can sear it. You can leave it raw in the middle. You can make a little steak, like, you know, like we do in Europe, and eat like the middle raw. There's no boundaries to cooking liver. All right, okay. Traveling food, honestly, that's where I like just consume Canine India, because I literally have no idea how to do it otherwise. But I would also say, again, if you go to a rural place, try to get to a farm, grab like, you know, 2 chickens worth of meat and put them in the freezer, and then add maybe like a little bit of fish meal from Canine India, and it should, you know, work for a while. You can definitely give raw food to a pregnant dog, but like I wouldn't do the switch like while this is happening. I would go very slow, very easy on a lactating dog. For Lila, the ghee, it depends. Like, fat is an essential part of the diet, but it shouldn't be too much. So if Lila is like jumping around all day and doing things, then give her a tablespoon, like a teaspoon, a good teaspoon, and make it even more yummy. But you know, it is very high in calories. It's a healthy treat. All right, so let's talk about. There were questions about the cost of a good diet. People are worried, which, you know, I understand, about the fact that feeding fresh and raw and all, or home cooked or whatever, it's just, you know, it's pricey. It's an effort in time. It's an effort in money. How to do that? And I would like to make a case that yes, it's a lot of effort in the beginning to feed raw or home cooked yourself, but it is not that pricey, especially considering the fact that, you know, good food is an investment in your pet's future, and it will keep you from having to get all these things like, you know, supplements and medications and everything that you can replace. Like, literally all that you need for your pet will be food. Like, you do not need more than that. So yeah, so you're saving on like care products basically by investing in the food, and you're saving your pet pain, of course, and like you're giving it the life that it deserves. So that should be worth the effort. And then instead of like kibble and rawhide and supplements and all that, and you can just, you know, instead of fish oil capsules, you can feed fish. And instead of like a calcium supplement something, you can feed a chicken food that I'm sure is going to be cheaper if you buy a whole chicken or something than to get these supplements, which are just synthetically made and will just clog up your dog's system or your cat's system, because as humans we cannot copy nature as much as we try to claim that. So the synthetic nutrition that is not only in kibble, which is why it's so nutrient rich, because it's like infused with tons of synthetic nutrients that the dog's body and the cat's body will not be able to digest, then because these incomplete synthetic vitamins or nutrients are not completely digestible, because they're not completely natural and not completely the same, they will, you know, kind of remain in the kidneys and liver, and after some time that will cause the kidneys and liver to fail when you thought you were giving a liver support supplement or something. Like, it's crazy. Anyway, organs should be about 10% of the diet, and then you don't need any supplements. If you only feed chicken, like for muffin, then I would definitely suggest one of the cooling proteins, rabbit, fish, or duck. And for a big dog like muffin, I would say like a tablespoon a day. That's gonna be good. Let me get back to my little notes. For a good coat, sorry, one more thing. For a good coat, always anything fish. I swear to God, fish is such a friggin' miracle. Like, fish is great because it's lean, it's super nutritious, it is a complete nutrient source because you can feed the whole thing. Like if you feed anchovies, for example, or sardines from us or something, or the omega-3 powder, then you have the whole fish in there, which means nature did the balancing for you, nothing for us to add. And you grind it, you have like the liver, the eyes, the brain, like all these great nutrient sources in there. And fish obviously is a main source of omega-3, which is great for the skin and coat. It makes it like silky and nice, and it's just all the way fish. So if you're looking for something from us, I would say omega-3 powder or fish meal. And other than that, I would say get any fish you can find, as long as it's not too big because of the mercury and all that, but fish for the coat. Fish for president, I totally agree, man. Yes, fishies are, like, I feel so sad because they're so lovely and so good to our dogs and cats, but you know, I also think it's good because fish, like 100,000%, they live free, they live a perfect life the way that they're supposed to, off in the ocean, you know, jumping around, doing their thing. And then, you know, a fisher with like a manual labor kind of, like not an industrial thing, like they catch them, and I feel like that's more of the circle of life where I can be okay, like seeing my dogs eat the whole thing, and I'm like, yes, this is unfortunately, but also, you know, fantastically how it's supposed to be. I'm super happy that your puppy likes them. Samanvita. Fish, what type of fish? All kinds of small fish are good. They're not that polluted, and then all river and lake fish, like freshwater fish, are also safe to feed. But small ocean fish are a great choice. Yeah. So, I wanted to get back to the cost real quick. So if you were really determined to feed your dog and your cat raw or just a good diet, and you say you really have a small budget, I think you can still make it work. You can, you know, find a supplier that gets you like whole chickens. You can get those chopped up and portioned, you freeze them, you feed them like literally head to toe, everything gets fed, and that, you know, that will get you even through a Labrador's diet for quite a while. You can add, you know, supplements, like stuff like egg and curd and pumpkin and vegetables and whatever. You can feed Canadian India meals on top. You can feed some chewies. Like I would say that around 4 to 5K a month, you can feed a Labrador with like a fresh chicken and vegetables based diet with additions, with like at least 2 chews a week from Canadian India and at least one different source protein meal from Canadian India, and you would totally be able to do that. It would just be kind of a bit of work. Well, all the things that should be in a meal is always meat, organ, and bone. You don't have to balance every single meal, but over time there should be a balance that is kind of copying the prey in nature, which would be mainly meat, then some organ, and some bone. Bones are an essential nutrient, and it's important to feed bones. Like people say, bones get stuck, but I have to beg to differ. Cooked bones are a choking risk and can pose a danger to dogs, but dogs and cats are made to eat raw bones, or dehydrated bones also work. As you can see, like in your pet, they cannot move their jaws sideways like we can. They do not have flat teeth. Like their entire anatomy is made to eat chunks and crush them and like strengthen their jaws. Like you will see when your dog is chewing, like they have these little, like almost as if they swallow golf balls in their jaw. That's their muscles, you know, bulking up to what they're supposed to be. Dogs and cats, like when they chew, their teeth will grow. Like if your dog or if your cat knows how to chew, which either if you introduce it as a puppy or if you teach them later on in life as possible, there's no harm in bones. There's so many benefits, but of course you always have to be careful and monitor, because some dogs tend to gobble or don't know how to chew yet and stuff. But please don't judge bones. They are amazing. And yes, fish can be fed as whole, but please don't cook it, because bones cooked are horrible. Yes, then let's talk about transitioning. So start slow, as with everything. No, don't give Bruno cooked fish bones. If you cook it, then you have to fillet or you have to mix it up into a paste. I know that. Oh, sorry. I'm just getting lost in the conversation here. So we said transitioning next. I'm happy I could give you new information. Thank you for bringing the point up, Schrader. Sorry if I say the names wrong. So anyway, transitioning. Main thing is to go slow, as always, with new food. And this part is really important to me and, I guess for everybody. So if you introduce new food, and it's absolutely okay to mix different kinds of food, it's okay to mix different styles of food. There's a lot of myths and misconceptions around mixing food. The one thing is, mixing kibble or processed food and fresh food and dehydrated food is said apparently to cause some sort of digestive upset, because they get digested at different rates. That is not true, and it's silly also, really to think about it. It's like to say, oh, you can't have bread with your curry because the bread is made differently, so you don't digest it the same. It's just not true. You can mix kibble and meat and dehydrated meat and vegetables. That's absolutely no problem. Mixing proteins, also not a problem, absolutely healthy and beneficial. Just the one thing you have to make sure is that your pet is fine with each of the proteins that you introduce. So when you're transitioning, it's very important that you understand that you have to stick to things for a while. If you have fed your pet with processed foods for their whole life, or with, say, chicken and rice their whole life, and then now you are thinking, okay, I want to do a little more, and I'm going to introduce fish and duck and rabbit. And you just, stop the chicken or stop the kibble, and then next day you give them a rabbit meal from Canada, India, which I say is so great. They will probably have a horrible reaction and throw up all over the place. That is because it's just so different in nutrition. It's like as if you gave somebody who's been eating cereal for their entire life every day, if you give them a whole basket of fresh fruit, they will be sick the next day. And that does not mean that fresh fruit are unhealthy. All it means is this person needs to get used to this nutrition. Their body needs to be brought back to life. Dormant processes have to wake up. And yes, cooked chicken, raw beef can absolutely be mixed. Completely fine. No worries about that. So, it's challenging to digest new stuff, because literally the body has to pick up work that hasn't been done in a long time if these things haven't been fed yet. I'll get to that. Let's talk about it right now. The difference in dehydrated meat and raw meat is nutritional value is 0.2% or something like that. Is almost the same, but it's just the water weight removed basically. So what we have, you can just go that 20 grams of something that's dehydrated from us will be about 100 grams, about 100 gram before dehydrating. So it's just very dense, but it's not different in nutrition. Okay, so silly indies that won't transition. Indies, I love them. Anyway, let's get back to transition. It's a struggle, people. It's a real struggle. It's a big effort, and I know many people here. I see Pritam, I see Priyanka, I see so many people who I know have been listening to me and then literally telling me like 2 days, oh, it's great, and then Julia, it's flaring up, it's getting worse, it's all horrible, the world is ending, I don't know what to do. And not saying you're dramatic, but I mean you worried about the reaction of your dogs to what I suggested. But it is something that's normal. If you feed and transition to a better diet, then your pet's body will kind of try to flush out as much as possible of the stored kind of bad nutrients, toxins, all of that. Literally, the body is waking up and being like, yes, wait, wow, look at all the look at all the stuff that I can do. And, you know, it'll start like flushing out stuff left and right. And then you think, oh my goodness, the skin is flaring up, or they have diarrhea, or they're throwing up, and you think, I did something wrong. Let me quickly switch back to kibble. Let me quickly go back to rice or something. And then it dies down, and you're like, okay, good. Fresh food is the worst. Never doing that again. But what you actually did, if that happens, is you interrupted the detoxing process. You interrupted your dog or your cat from learning to do better. Like, it's so sad to me when I hear that, but it's just something that happens, and it's very hard to trust somebody. Like, I'm just here saying like, oh yeah, look at your dog throw up, don't you worry about it. That's kind of weird to listen to. I understand that, and it's kind of like, who do you think you are? Like, I'm not gonna let my dog throw up. But it does pay off, because like it's a little bit like somebody who has like, it's a rehab, it's a detox. You're gonna throw up, you're gonna get rid of stuff, and then you're like a newborn, and then you're gonna like be able to start from scratch, kind of. So the time, it can be anywhere from, to be honest, from a week to 2 months, but it's not usually 2 months. It's usually somewhere between 5 and 10 days, I would say. Roti wheat shouldn't be the part of the diet at all. Anyway, so this is one thing. Like, if your pet gets a little bit worse after you start making a change, please just stick to whatever you did. I know it's hurtful, but like, stick to it, and just make sure, like, even if they're a little bit exhausted and down, it can just be the body working so hard that the whole body is tired, and it's not bad. It's okay, and as long as they're not in pain, or like, just give it some time. Give it a little bit of time, and trust your pet that they can get better. I think it's a perfect way to go to raw by going through dehydrated. Like, it's just a nice kind of step in between, because it's way easier to digest dehydrated, but it's almost the same nutrition. So like, if you fed your pet a lot of dehydrated stuff, then you can kind of be sure that those things will absolutely be fine raw after a while as well. It's okay to give rice, it's just not needed. Like, it's all right. Nothing. I think true perfection has to be imperfect. And trust me, like, if I eat something yummy, like, I don't know, French fries or whatever, I will share them with my dogs after I'm done. But rice should be kind of like a treat, or you should just keep in mind that it's not something that nutritionally benefits them at all. Yeah, stop rice today. I know, that's kind of what I'm trying to say by that. Anyhow, let's see. Yeah, again, if you try something new, stick to it for a while. Do not immediately return, and go very slow. If Leia loves dehydrated meat, then why are you scared? Like, what are you scared of? Are you scared of a cucumber for yourself? If you're not, then try going raw. I'm of course just kidding, but I understand very much that it's scary. Like, we're so like made to think that raw meat is bad, but just inform yourself more and read up as much as you can on like scientific research, and then you'll kind of lose the fear, because as much like the more you read about it, the more you're like, oh yeah, right. Like, why would anybody like feed anything else but raw meat? Like, what is this? So I think the most important part is to just learn about how the anatomy works, how the body works, asking whenever anybody tells you like, oh, this, you should do this to your pet, you should give your cat that, you should do that. Then like ask them, okay, give me a reason, like give me the entire reason. And the reason is not like, let's take as for an example, somebody says dogs should not have bones. And then you say, why? It's not enough to say, oh, they choke on it. Because that's not a real reason. You need the explanation. You need, like, I can tell you why dogs actually are fine to eat bones. And I can give you an anatomic explanation. I can give you a scientific explanation. I can give you experience. I can give you studies. Like that. And also every single dog treat is shaped in a bone. Like, why if it's so bad for them? Anyway, sorry, getting distracted. Okay. It's great to give your dog fish if there's dermatitis or any other skin issues. Just again, like be aware that there's a possibility that it might get worse. Like you might see more red spots and stuff. Stick with it, but also go really, really, really slow with the introduction. Hi Muffin. At 3-month-old, you literally can make a run for it and transition quickly. I'm not sure that everybody will share this opinion, and maybe some people will be like, you're crazy, but to be very honest, if you're determined to go raw at 3 months old, just go raw, like raw turkey, just like literally raw turkey. Go get yourself some chicken feet tomorrow and have them for breakfast and then see what happens during the day. I think that at this age, everything's possible, it's still intact, and you can still shape the body. Go and try, and if there's some throw up, well, puppies throw up, it's a thing. Try. Yeah, I know. Cooked meal and dehydrated. No, feeding mixed dehydrated and raw and cooked and whatever, perfectly fine. Also, there was a question about rehydrating dehydrated treats. Rehydrating food is a nice texture change and it can provide more moisture. But you know, if your pet prefers the crunchy texture of dehydrated treats from us, it's 100,000% fine. It's also way more convenient if you're traveling or if you're busy. Just, you know, obviously like human, like common sense, just have some water around if you feed something dry. Like that's all I can say. Otherwise, of course, a dehydrated dog or a cat will obviously get skin issues because they don't have enough hydration, but that can be avoided by offering them fresh water. So that's all good. Well, if the dog gets scared of the food, it can happen. I would just make sure to like take very little parts and incorporate it into like the normal food. Just like basically with any intense reaction that you don't want with your pet, my answer would be act as casual and nonchalant as you possibly can. Like if you tell them, my dogs used to get pretty tense when there's other dogs around. And I used every single occasion to just be like, I'm falling asleep, I'm so bored by this, like I can't even. And it taught them after a while, like if I'm so bored by it, then maybe it's not that interesting. So with food the same, just keep offering it as if it was normal, and after some while they'll be like, okay, I guess it's normal then. And hopefully have it. I'm happy about that. No more calcium bones. Yeah, it's a good thing to freeze raw meat before feeding. Because it kills any bacteria and stuff. Even though a healthy, carnivore, a healthy dog, a healthy cat, they could technically eat bacteria, viruses, whatever. It wouldn't harm them because of their acidic and quite hostile stomach environment. So I'm not encouraging you give your dog some rotten meat, but technically it's not a problem for a healthy pet. Wow, I'm happy Heidi got to power walk, and I know she doesn't have arthritis because she's fed very well. Oh, I'm so happy, Dev Journey. And also, fur is always good for the anal glands to be squeezed out. You can give your dogs again like dehydrated treats or raw treats or, you know, any real food from the moment they're weaned off. Like there's no too early. I had like all my dogs came to me earlier than I wish they would have because they were all kind of in emergency situations. So especially Teddy, he came to us, I think he was about 15 days old or something. Like he was literally just ready to like open his, you know, eyes and senses and like start like being a dog. So the first thing he ever ate was I saw him in a bowl of Coco's. Like I had a whole bowl out with raw goat mince, and it was Coco's dinner, and the fussy girl was like, nah, not having it. And it was left out, and I found the, I think 3-week-old puppy by then, sitting inside the goat mince bowl and eating around himself. And he's been growing to be the healthiest thing in the world. So that's all I can say for when to start. Real food. Kidney issues. Okay. Kibble once a day, cooked veggies and curd. Yeah, chicken and kibble and rice and all of that is inflammatory. All of that together will make allergies, itches, skin infections. Sorry to be blunt. If you don't get omega-3 like fish, duck, rabbit, something cooling in the diet, your dog will get allergies. And allergies on the like upside are something that's kind of fleeting in dogs and cats. If your dog is allergic to something, it's kind of more of an indicator of your pet being inflamed and not having the right balance in the diet. Allergies go away. Like if the body is in the right balance again, then the allergy will be gone again. So just definitely introduce some fish. I would obviously say fish would be my number one. Kidney issues. We've been talking about that. Like this is such a bummer, man. Like renal issues is such a big deal, and vets often recommend such a not good solution. Like so for kidney issues, whether it's dogs or cats, what I can say is go for a high protein diet, exactly the opposite of what your vet said. Just check my last blog that I wrote on that, then you can see some background. But in short, if there are kidney issues, you have to feed a diet that is rich in minerals so that they can bind to the minerals that are too much and that are not supposed to be in the bloodstream so that they can be flushed out. And you need a high protein diet because if you feed low protein, then the kidney function will lower. The kidney function depends on the amount of protein coming in. So no protein, no function. No bettering. But high protein, high function, dormant tubes wake up. The minerals you feed, if they're like from fresh good food, then your body, your dog's body or your cat's body will know how to handle them, will bind to them, and then all of that will go out in the kidneys that are now picking up work again. So that's what you need to do, and not prescription kibble, because prescription kibble is what? It's starches, and what do starches do? They make for inflammation, and what is kidney issues? It's inflammation. So don't do prescription kibble. Prescription kibble, it's just like prescription cereal, like prescription rice, prescription potato. Like it doesn't make sense. It's not good for your dog. It's not good for your cat. Stop it. Sorry, not trying to be bossy. Just being pawed by my puppy here. Anyway, you can give, like with most things, like I'm not very much of a fan of like rigid guidelines, even though I'm a German. I'm not that like strict with things. Like I will sometimes, you know, when we have like guests over or a party or something, like our dogs will have like way too much food that they shouldn't, and then, you know, it's fine. Like it's like a birthday party. Like just like try to be a little bit like, it's so hard because we love them so much, right? Like these little four-legged love things. But you have to kind of remind yourself to be calm and be logical about them. Like, if you kind of have an upset tummy or a day off and you like kind of feel ugh, then you're not going to run to the hospital and be super worried or call your mom. You're just going to be like, oh well, you know, maybe I'll take a hot shower and tomorrow will be better. Be like that with your pets. They're tougher than they look, and they're tougher than you would think. That's definitely a good advice. Yeah, petting my own shoulder. You can give meat frozen, especially in this like hot climate. I do like doing that. also makes stuff a little bit harder and harder to chew. So if your dog likes it, absolutely fine to feed frozen. Yeah, food intolerance that's kind of the same thing, because like it's not irreversible. It's not irreversible at all. If your dog is not touching any of our treats, then how dare they, number one. And then number two, I have the same problem with mine. Like some stuff they just won't touch even though I want them to eat it. I always go for either soaking it in water, soaking it in something they like. That's where I trick, and I use a little bit of milk because they like that. Or you can crumble the pumpkin bark up and mix it with regular food. Or like the last resort is always put it in a mixie, grind, then you have powder, and then you can hide it in food. That's what I would do. All meats can be mixed. There's no stress. Like, think nature. All that we're trying to do is copy nature. So in nature, there's nothing like, oh, hey, if you hunted a rabbit yesterday, then you cannot eat like a quail today. That's not gonna work. Like, it's just on balance on what's out there, basically. I would never deworm a dog because there is just no need for that. I don't understand, like every 3 months of deworming, like why? You're just gonna like harm the gut flora as much as humanly possible. It's so weird. Give the dog some pumpkin seeds, and if the poop looks wiggly and there's worms in it, which I highly doubt if you feed pumpkin seeds and some good food, you don't need deworming. Just like vaccinations, like rabies vaccinations last lifelong. There's so many studies. There's no need to vaccinate all the time. All that. Ugh. Sorry. That's crazy, Zahir, what you're saying. Yeah, prescription. I feel like prescription kibble is just something where they're like, ooh, you're sick? Can we make you more sick to make sure you come back? Like, it's ridiculous. Anyway. Cute when bossy. I said I don't want to be bossy. That's kind of like a good insult, Reshma. Oh, yeah. I'm being called out, I'm blushing. Oh no. Okay, I've got 9 minutes left. Shizzle. Anyway, okay. Liver detox and liver support for cats. High protein, man. Look, I'm literally blushing. Ugh. High protein is literally what I can tell you for kidneys. And read the blog that I wrote. I don't want to be like those bloggers and influencers, like read here, like there. But I did write the blog for information, and I think it might help you. And if it doesn't, then reach out to me. Raw feeding of fresh feeding chronic issue cats. Yeah, same thing. Like transition really slowly, especially with a sensitive pet or a pet that has issues already. But it's always better to feed better and take the struggle than to keep kind of prolonging the issue that is there. So I would, even with a renal issue in a cat, I would start, just like very slowly introducing new things to the diet, just a piece of shredded chicken, and then maybe a little bit of chicken liver, maybe one chicken heart. They're so good for cats with the taurine. Like small poultry hearts are wonderful for cats because they have a high taurine content, which is one of the nutrients that they cannot make themselves. Meat storage ideas, honestly, get your pet a freezer fraction over here. I have tried to share, and just like in the bed, it doesn't work with the freezer either. So they just took over, and after some time we just bought a freezer for the pets. So that's my storage idea. Also storage, freeze in portions. Freeze the meals or the whatever you want to feed in portions, because that way you can spend like one afternoon portioning and freezing stuff, and then when you want to feed your pet, you just take some stuff. You take maybe a frozen cube of liver mash or whatever, some chicken breast, and then you take a spoonful of meals from Canine India, and ta-da, soup meal. So constipated dog, give a little bit more organ meat, some pumpkin, ginger is good, bone broth if it's really constipated. I don't know how to friggin' save a life. Like, I have to hang up now, Ray. Hang up. I have to hang up on you. Yeah, deworming is cray-cray. Mohona, pumpkin seeds as dewormers for cats. Yes, they should, because the thing that makes them deworm is that there's an enzyme, an enzyme that paralyzes worms in pumpkin seeds. So even though I've not particularly researched that, it would make sense to me that whether the worm is in a cat or in a dog, it doesn't matter. It will be paralyzed and flushed out. Okay, please save this. I will. Okay, check time. All right. Okay, I think I have to run. I think Priyanka is gonna slap me. All right. Okay. Chicken safe. Do not feed a low phosphorus diet. Read my blog, please, and send me questions about things. And let me know if you want me to do this again or if I use too many swear words. Let me know if you want me to put on makeup next time or something. Let me know if you want me to feature my puppies next time. Okay, hang up. I gotta go, people. I'm gonna press end and then after that I'm gonna save it, right, people? Is that true? Let me know. Is that correct? I don't know technical stuff. I end it now, okay? Bye-bye. All right, bye. Thank you so much, people. I had so much fun.